or wherever you need to go. And let's jump right into it. Here's an industry. You head up one of the biggest in New England. Complex. It is a people think of it as for their wedding or getting to a business meeting or whatever it might be. All the different implications of a car service. It's a big infrastructure, complex, technology-driven business.
It is. It's a lot more than most people would think. I mean, there is a ton of technology that goes into our business. It's not just driving people from their office to the airport anymore. There's a lot of moving parts that go into it, and there's a lot of obstacles along the way that can pop up. And technology these days has really become, a force for us to, separate ourselves from the competition and get the job done the way our customers want it done and the way we need it done efficiently too.
And, give an idea of sort of how many trips, how many folks do you take here, there, everywhere, and what the scope is. I think people have a tendency to think of, a limousine service company as being finite. It might just be in Providence, but you're connecting people all over the country.
We do. A long time ago, we started connecting those people all over the world, actually, and we realized that, Rhode Island is a small state. There's not tons of, upward growth here in the state. Boston we're in as well, and there's a lot more up there. But we started to ask our customers when they were flying out and arranging their ground transportation in those cities. So it really kind of opened the world to us from a business standpoint, and now every day probably 30 to 40% of our rides are not in New England at all, but they could be in Hong Kong, they could be in LA, they could be anywhere. So
we just came back from Dublin, and
you didn't use us. I didn't see your name on the list.
So let me tell you, we were not moving a lot of places.
You're stuttering right now. Come on, what's going
on? We'll take advantage of it. We do actually have a trip coming up. Well, I'll discuss it with you off air.
All right.
Talk about the technology, though. You've got, you do a lot of significant corporate work, so you're working with, and I'm just going to use them hypothetically, a major toy company or a major pharmaceutical company or a major retailer, and they've got folks that need to move from their place in Boston or Rhode Island, and they need to get to LA seamlessly. They don't have spare time.
Right.
Talk a little bit about how that process works.
I mean, the technology these days is all about information, and real-time information at people's fingertips. We're dealing with CEOs and, C-suite executives that, their admins or the executives themselves want to know exactly where their vehicle is. They want to know exactly when it's going to arrive. They want to track it on a map. I'm sure Uber is going to come up in this conversation, and our technology does everything that Uber does. The only thing that we really don't have is a $60 billion valuation like Uber has. Ours is $80 billion. But it's but the technology is.
But you've stayed longer as CEO than their guy has.
That's right. I stay out of trouble. At least I try to. So it's the technology is really about real-time information, and a lot of our customers are flying on private airplanes, and for those things to sit on the ground waiting, it's an expensive proposition, and you can't come up with excuses for that sort of client. So the technology we utilize really sends the alerts to whoever needs the alerts. It sends the information of the chauffeurs, the vehicle information, GPS tracking information. It allows billing to happen automatically in some cases. So they're getting their bills right away, and their expense reports can be filled out right away. So it's just, we actually have a server room to run a limousine company. It's impressive, actually. It's not a ledger book type system anymore. There's actually a full room dedicated in our office filled with computers just to run the business.
Well, it's funny because on most Mondays, and he's coming on later this afternoon on Business Money, is Saul Kaplan, who runs Business Innovation Factory, and he's a leading guy in the country about talking about innovation. And it's more about your servers than it is probably about anything else. And it's the application on somebody's phone.
It is, and we do have an app for our customers to use, and that's something that's continually evolving and coming out with new features. And again, Uber is something that has driven our industry to a higher level. And what we offer we offer that technology, but we also offer a lot more than that is not offered.
Well,
It's duty of care, it's service, it's all of the above.
Well, that's the other discussion we always have, which is the way to compete with, an all digital application driven company is with better service.
Right.
Right. That's the one thing that they can't do. You can't phone anyone at Uber. You
Correct.
can't touch and feel anything at Uber. And that's really your competitive opportunity, is to be able to provide a really high touch feel and just a great connection for folks.
That's correct. And our company is as large as we have grown over the 27 years we've been in business. It's still kind of that small company feel. So when our clients that we've had for 15 years call in, they're talking to the same people they've been talking to in some cases for 15 years, and they like that connection. And our customers and our chauffeurs, we have chauffeurs that have been with us for I think over 20 years in some cases. So they like that personal connection because, let's face it, they're in a car in a tight confines with somebody, from anywhere from 30 minutes to, if they're going to New York, maybe 4 or 5 hours if they hit traffic.
Right.
So they want that level of service and comfort.
Iftikhar is coming up after you. He's stuck in traffic. He
should have used the car service.
He should have used.
We know how to get around that.
Jesus, we'll get him on here as well. But he's done an amazing job at the Airport Corporation and bringing in an entirely different experience.
He has,
and it's a huge opportunity for you guys be able to really help people around the world leaving out of here. You've got competitors up in Boston. You've kind of got the land to yourself down here.
Well, we do, and there's, in all fairness, there is some good competition in the state of Rhode Island as well. But he has done a great job at the airport, and it's not just the passengers flying in and out, but every time those new airlines come in, that's an opportunity for us because those airline crews need to be transported from the airport to wherever they're staying. And
they need to be on time.
And they need to be on time more than anybody else. If they're late, 150 people are late. So.
Right. There's only two things that matter to your flight: that the airplane got in and that the crew shows up.
That's right. There's no self-driving airplanes yet. I'm sure somebody will try and figure that one out.
Are you guys starting to think about that, self-driving cars, and what that means to your business? And is that an opportunity? Is it a challenge? Is it scare the bejesus out of you? Kind of where does it fit in your mind?
I would say all of the above.
Yeah, right.
I would say all of the above. I mean, it certainly is an opportunity. I mean, we consider ourselves a company that's kind of on the leading edge of technology and trying to innovate and, always staying abreast of that. So, I mean, I can envision our dispatchers someday, having joysticks instead of keyboards in front of their, desk. And, I think that will happen. I don't know if I'll be alive when that happens, but
I think it's going to happen much, much quicker.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. But I think once it gets to a commercial application, that'll be different. And I think people will still need our service because are they going to, let their self-driving car drive into Logan Airport and then say goodbye to their self-driving car and it's going to drive by itself back home? Maybe it will. I don't know. But I tend to think that somebody still needs to be in control of that, whether it's in the vehicle or in an office somewhere.
So on the limousine side, all occasions, but you have a lot more going on.
We
talk a little bit about all the legs to the stool.
Yeah, I mean, all occasion represents a significant amount of our business. We have a sister company that I started 13 or 14 years ago, Rockstar Limo, that does a tremendous amount of weddings. We also have a great partnership with the Gronkowski family now. We manage the Gronk buses. He has 2 of them now, Yo Soy Fiesta and the 87. And it's just been it's been a fun partnership that's opened up lots of doors, and it's been fun being a part of it. And
well, you had the Gronk, one of the Gronk buses downtown. I've never seen anything attract more attention. It literally, people running out of buildings to take photos in front of the bus.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
My kids took me out for my birthday, who are 10 and 12, by the way. Grayson and Marin, how you doing if you're watching? And they took me to dinner at the Mooring in Newport, and literally we overheard people rumoring throughout the restaurant that Gronk was eating in the restaurant. And it was just hysterical watching the reaction of people. And they just go nuts. I mean, everybody thinks Rob's on the bus every time it drives out of our building.
The driver could not have played it up better. The guy was an absolute pro. Talk about that from a business standpoint. First of all, whose idea was it?
Well, in all fairness, it was Rob's idea. Ever since he was a kid, he wanted to own his own party bus. Surprise, surprise.
That is so shocking.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
over the years, I think he realized that he could actually make money on this
Yes.
instead of just driving him around when he wanted to. So it was his idea, and his brothers, Dan specifically, who I work with, they're the ones that really took the ball and ran with it and turned it into a business. And then we partnered up with them and took it to the next level.
And just, I mean, think about it. That's one of those transformative things that really makes you really think about all the different opportunities on how to move people and how to entertain people.
Right.
And I've been on the bus. It's more than a bus. It's
It's an experience.
It is absolutely experience, and it's it's spectacular. It's beautiful. It's got all sorts of different jerseys and
you only saw the conservative one. He
I
has
saw
another
the
one that's
conservative
much
one.
less conservative.
Right. That has more.
But that was meant to be a
stories told.
shrine for him, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of what we're doing in our business is creating experiences. And on on the all occasion side, the experience is the service,
Yeah.
and the service that our company provides in the office, also in the vehicles. And on the Rockstar side, the experience normally is going to be the vehicle and also the service level. But people hire that company for unique vehicles because they have a special event to go to.
But isn't that really, it's true on both sides of your business, that it's really about sort of touch and feel?
It is.
And so where do you go next? Is it geography? Is it bigger within the footprint that you're in and more connections globally? I mean, the world is getting about as flat can be. I mentioned to you, we left our house at 4. We checked our bags and through security at Green in less than an hour.
Right.
So that's a game changer.
Right. I mean, it's for us, it's geography. Boston's a huge market. We
Yeah.
do a lot in Boston already. There's so much more potential up there. But it's also, we're opening another company, well, we're expanding our footprint into a different state down south this
Yeah.
fall, which
right.
I don't want to
You're not tipping
blow
your
the
hat.
lid off yet.
Can we get up first though when you're ready?
Sure,
to make the announcement?
absolutely.
We'll take that.
I can commit to that.
Okay.
And, that'll be a big thing for us. And it's people always question me. It sounds like you're doubling down in your business.
Yeah.
When Uber is stepping up and
Yeah.
creating all sorts of chaos for your industry, which. And it's true. I am doubling down. I have a lot of faith in our business. I have a lot of faith in the future of the industry, and it'll be.
Well, I think in a lot of cases it's a different experience.
It is.
You can take I forget the term, black Uber in a city like New York, but you can't take a black Uber easily. Can't take one in Providence.
There isn't that level of service
yeah.
in Providence, and it's really you talked about how sometimes you Uber to and from work,
Yeah.
and you would have never called us for that type of service in the past. You might have called a taxi perhaps,
Yeah.
but you probably wouldn't.
No, I
have
never
done
would
that.
have. No, never
So
would have.
it's really created a new market that
Yeah.
was it doesn't take from our customer base. Occasionally it does, and I'm not naive to that we have lost a little bit to that. But again, it's probably given us more of an advantage because it's forced us to make sure we are still at the front of our game, at the top of our game all of the time, at the forefront of technology.
What keeps you up at night?
Not much.
Yeah, good for you.
Not much. I sleep pretty well, actually, because I know if I let the stress of this industry get to me, I'd be up all night.
See, I don't sleep anyway, so there's no problem of being kept up at night.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very fast-paced
Yeah.
business. I mean, we can do hundreds of rides in a day, and it's
Really?
that's a lot of transactions, and there's a lot of things going on in that, and once the ride is, I mean, it's just a lot going on all at once. So, I have great staff in place to make sure that I do sleep at night. Let's put it that way.
One of the things that we think about, we're a pretty innovative media company. I mean, look where we are and what we're doing, and we feel a tremendous amount of pressure to constantly innovate. Do you have that same feeling that the ball is moving all the time?
We do. I mean, it's amazing how quickly technology is evolving, and you think about it that I was talking to somebody the other day about cell phones. I'm like, we won't even have cell phones probably in 10 years, and you wonder what that's going to be like and what's
Right.
going to replace that. And I was talking to somebody else about CDs. I was like, I need to digitize all of my CDs, and then I said to him, I said, but maybe digital won't be the thing in 10 years, so I'm going to have to redo all of that again. So I mean, it's just moving at such a rapid pace right now, and we're a transportation company. We rely on our software vendors to help us evolve from a technology standpoint, and they're under pressure from an entire industry.
Oh yeah, tremendous.
So we benefit from that industry pressure to get them to evolve.
Well, the other, from my standpoint, especially in a business environment, the huge advantage you have over any of the Ubers or Lyfts is the consistency. I mean, I take Ubers regularly. The variation.
Bad man.
Well,
I'm
here,
kidding,
I mean,
kidding.
you want that $5 ride?
No,
Okay.
no. Send it to them.
Yeah.
Put them out of business.
So that's right, and that's 90% of my rides are $5 rides. They're down the hill,
Right.
And if I don't have meetings off campus, I just want to get down here early and efficiently. But the variation of who picks me up, the condition of their car, their expertise as drivers, couldn't vary more. I mean,
agree.
40-50%, there's something significantly wrong.
That's right. And that's part of our training is
Right.
consistency of service, so that every time somebody calls all occasion, they know what to expect. They know what the chauffeur is going to look like. They know what kind of car is going to show up, the condition of the vehicle. So, I mean, consistency is huge for us in all levels of our operation.
Rhode Island based.
Yes.
And how many employees?
Right now we have probably 90 or 95 employees, all
That's
said and
great.
done, including chauffeurs, office staff, mostly full-time chauffeurs, a handful of part-timers.
Now, I've been in your parking lot and seen that there are a few other vehicles that maybe don't meet the norm. Double-decker English bus.
We have a 1970 London bus that we had shipped over on a freighter a couple years ago. Authentic as it comes, it's amazing. It's the coolest bus
We
ever.
are definitely doing a Go Local event on that bus.
You should.
100%.
Seats 75 people. The best seat in the house is the front row up top,
Oh, yeah, totally.
overlooking the street. It's amazing.
You've got some exceptionally long vehicles.
We do. We have brand new stretch limousines that we use a lot for weddings, Cadillac Escalades, Chryslers.
We did see a Bentley stretch
Yep.
in Dublin.
Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, those are
Okay?
pretty cool.
We do not have one of those. We do
You
not
might
have
want to
one of
import
those.
one of those.
Yeah, it breaks my heart to think that they actually cut a Bentley in half to make that.
They did cut a Bentley in half, and what was that, around $300,000 that they cut in half?
Yeah, plus whatever they added
Yeah.
into the middle of it.
And a huge variation of trolleys,
We do.
etc.
We have 9 trolleys. We have 3 motor coaches, a bunch of minibuses. So that's another thing. Our business is evolving into the larger vehicles. We do a lot of corporate group work that comes in Newport or Boston or Providence in the summertime, and that requires motor coaches, minibuses, and so we've added to our fleet and gone into larger and larger vehicles because that's what the industry is calling for. That's what our customers are calling for.
Are you an early indication of where the economy is going? Do you sort of see it and understand it almost better than anyone else?
I wouldn't say better than anybody else, but travel, budgets do get cut earlier on in the game.
Yeah.
And that's because I think the corporations that are our customers are the ones that see it earlier than anybody else.
Right.
And so when they see it, it starts trickling down to their vendors, and obviously we're one of their vendors.
And how are we feeling about the economy moving forward? Yeah.
Great. As of right now, knock on wood, it's great.
We've got a lot of wood. Yeah, it is a funny period of time. People couldn't be less happy about what's going on in Washington, but the stock market continues to cook along pretty well, and employment numbers continue to be spectacular.
And that's a challenge for us, is hiring enough people. We are always hiring chauffeurs. We're always hiring chauffeurs with CDL licenses, people in our garage. I mean, that's been our biggest challenge this year probably, is hiring enough people to stay abreast with our pace.
Well, listen, I want to thank you. It's a great discussion. It's one of those interesting industries that you, from the outside, don't always understand how the magic takes place and what the complexity of, the infrastructure is to be able to deploy, hundreds of different pieces of travel on a daily basis.
Right.
Not only here, Boston, New York, and overseas. So congratulations on all the success and all the growth. We're going to take about a 30-second break and bring on Iftikhar from the Rhode Island Airport Corporation, another another guy who's working 24/7 in the travel industry and doing some pretty exciting things in Rhode Island, which has some huge benefits for what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So I want to thank John for coming